Hey guys, I got back!
So I have said I wish Detroit had a professional lacrosse team. But we don't, so I have to share this clip about Dan Campbell.
We've obviously heard, all the stories about Dan Campbell. We've seen him do the actual crazy things. We've seen the Antoine Randall give J-Mo, the dad finger on the sideline. Awesome. What's like the wildest thing you heard from a coach with your time with the Detroit Lions?
So Coach Campbell was just telling us a story. I forget what game it was going into. The base of the story was he was saying that, he was in a situation or a scenario growing up, and I guess kind of like a fight broke out or something like that. And he said that, I want to say he was on the ground or something, and all he saw was like the back of somebody's heel, kind of like their Achilles.
Yeah.
Oh, no. And he said all he could think in his mind was he wanted to make his teeth touch. And I forget what game it was going into, man. I'm like, man, that's a true Dan story, man. And every time guys hear stories like that, man, it fires us up.
Yeah.
Just to hear a story from a coach, and how just relatable certain things are, and the parallels between life and certain situations, handling adversity, how those things are so parallel to an NFL season.
Yeah.
I think he always kept that in perspective with us, in the biggest games and in the biggest moments.
And this one talking about Terry and Arnold.
You practiced and played with one of the best in Jalen Ramsey. You had a great game. I just looked it up against Darrelle Revis.
Yeah.
Any similar traits in our guy Terry and Arnold that we could be hopeful for?
Yeah, again, I think it's always a learning curve a little bit at the cornerback position, especially seeing how much, man, he played last year. Yeah. But at the same time, I think, man, for a guy like that, to be able to be in the fire like that, play a lot of man-to-man snaps in meaningful and pivotal games, I think that's going to help him out light years as far as a corner and his confidence coming into year two. There's not much that he hasn't seen in year one.
Yeah.
Again, when you're playing man-to-man situations in those big games on a team that every game matters, playing for the division, so on and so forth, and you have Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, different guys that you're having to see and play and match up with man-to-man, once year two goes, I think he'll really get into his groove. I think he can have be very similar to the style of player that Darius Slay was, as far as how he kind of got into his groove, and you really saw him take off as a player as well and have a long, good career.
I think he was put in a very tough situation as a rookie. He was a first-round draft pick on an injury-ridden defense. I think his development throughout the year was very promising as a young defensive back. But anyway, onto the actual video now. That's right. Today we're talking about lacrosse, which you probably guessed from the title. There's a lot of lacrosse YouTube channels out there, like the Lacrosse Network. There's also Mitchell Pelkey and Lax Farmer. And the Disabled Danny channel doesn't exist in a vacuum, so there's bound to be crossover. With that being said, I'll get into it now. The format of the league is one location each week, and a different home city, so each team has a homecoming followed by a week off. I want to be known as a lacrosse guy here on YouTube, so I'll be covering weeks 2 and 3 in this one. I absolutely love the access to the game that the PLL brings.
Stop! Stop! Yes! Yes! Yeah! That was the most Tucci play of all time. That was such a Tucci play. You cool? Turn it! Woo! Come on! That's all I do. Good job, boy.
Mic'd up moments really do hit different, especially in high-pressure situations. Remember how I said Disabled Danny doesn't exist in a vacuum?
Go out on a limb right now. I think that the Redwoods are going to win the Western Conference.
Hoagie, do you agree with that?
No, the Archers are going to win the Western Conference. I have the Archers as my championship pick. I think the Archers are the best team in the league. I trust them. I trust their coaching. I trust their team. I think the Redwoods, kind of like Duke said, I think they're a year away from really being a true contender.
Like right now, you're seeing them come within one goal of this team. The Archers so clearly know how to win these tight games. The Redwoods are still figuring it out, and they're right on the precipice of it. And that's what I'm saying. 6 weeks from now, they're going to know how to do that.
Week 2 was in Charlotte, and the first game was between the Chaos and the Outlaws. It was very obvious the Chaos only won because of Blaze Reardon. 25 saves for the record?
I mean, come on.
Speaking of Big Blaze.
There's Schreiber against a shorty. Good feed, LeClaire, and there's Big Blaze with the stop.
And here comes Reardon, who plays forward in box lacrosse.
Here he goes.
Oh, man.
Don't
The
get
most
it.
skilled
Don't let it
goalie
up. Go.
offensively in the league. He scores! Big plays all the way!
The Philadelphia Water Dogs played against the Maryland Whipsnakes as well. Michael Sowers had a 7-assist game.
7 assists for Michael Sowers. Sowers gets free. Stathakis on the crease, diving. And the goal is good for the pick man. Kieran McCardle, big cheering section in the house. He fires and scores. Michael Sowers already the maestro. That's 2 assists for number 22. Dumping back behind the cage. Sowers, feet in front, shot, score. McCardle, a first quarter hat trick. Again using the pick. Sowers, feet in front. There's Jake Taylor, deposit slip.
It's a count.
Sowers defended by Jake Bernhardt. Feeds to Taylor behind the back. Whips, 3 2-pointers for the Whips. Final ticks, McCardle to beat the buzzer.
From who?
6 assists for Sowers. Sowers in front, McConvey. 7 assists for Michael Sowers.
That helped Philly win, so on to Saturday. The Utah Archers played against the Boston Cannons and the Cannons won, which we love seeing. The Carolina Chaos played in another game against the California Redwoods. The Redwoods won the game, which means the home team has yet to win both of its games. Week 3 was in Philadelphia, so the Water Dogs played twice and it was their homecoming. The Dogs ended up winning, but it was a defensive clinic from both teams.
Holman with nowhere to go. Great defense from Kenny Brower. Golding drops down here, but Ramsey couldn't corral it. Maxey all over it. Donville takes the shot. And another trainer. Courier walled off on the... Wayer tried to release it.
Coming into today, with the lead. Didn't see really much of any of that.
0 cause turnovers for Boston, and there's a turnover on the other side. McCardle tried to skip it. There's Grant again, making a huge difference in this second quarter. Owen Grant fakes the pass, now gives it up. Magnuson, a bullet to the top.
I think Philly was more focused on this game. The California Redwoods played against the Utah Archers on Friday, with the Archers taking the win. On Saturday, the New York Atlas played against the Maryland Whipsnakes, with the Whips taking the win. The Denver Outlaws played the Water Dogs that night and won. It was pretty much a must-win situation, though. You can't start the season with 3 straight losses. I also think Philly was more focused on that Boston game. With that being said, the Water Dogs are pretty much the only professional sports team from Philly that I actually like. I think the Eagles are a bunch of Pittsburgh losers.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
Go Birds! Okay, let's go Eagles! Let's go Birds! Go Birds!
Philly sports in general have very it's always sunny vibes.
Grain alcohol, baby. Whenever there's a potential riot, I'm getting blasted on grain alcohol. Right, rum punch.
Pure degeneracy. But not the Dogs. Maybe it's those sick unis. I was happy to see a good game between the Dogs and Cannons. Did someone say Cannon?
It's another deuce for Boston. .20 to shoot. Holman turns the corner. Trenner cashes out again. They are making it rain from the promised land.
With that, I'll roll out.
Autobots, roll out!
I appreciate everyone who's made it this far. Check me out on TikTok if you want. If you also want to join my cult, the Dan Fam, and become a Danimal.
That would be great.
But remember to be gentle.
Peace out, y'all.
They see me rolling, they hating.